really step by step addressing those challenges. So looking at how we can pay teachers more, how can we advocate for that? How can the government ensure that the budget they promise and the incentives they promise for teachers can be realised to attract and retain the best teachers in the country? Schools need to be built and need to be equipped. There's a huge dearth of schools in the country. We need to start looking at some innovative designs. Something Save the Children are doing at the moment, looking at semi-permanent structures where the roof and some columns are made of durable materials, like steel, zinc, aluminium, compacted base and a concrete base is put in place. And then the walls are completed using local materials, so wattle and daub, wood, mud blocks, anything that's appropriate to the geography, the culture and the abilities of the community to be able to maintain those. We also need to look, and this is one of the components of the new USA grant as well, is looking at how communities can be encouraged to take control of school premises, of education facilities, not in terms of curriculum and content, but in terms of the infrastructure. So how can communities, PTAs, take ownership of these facilities, maintain them, improve them, make sure they're appropriate for the communities that they are serving. There's a huge gap in pastoralist education provision. The numbers of pastoralists in South Sudan are huge, spread across many of the states as well. It's not just in some areas. It's particularly in Jonglei State, in the northern states, there's a pastoralist culture which has been here for hundreds of years. The culture moves seasonally to ensure the cattle have access to grazing land and to water. And whilst this is a source of conflict, the government has also been innovative in supporting the pastoralist education programming. It uses the model of a mobile school, more like a box that travels with a mobile teacher, maybe on a motorbike, maybe on a donkey, maybe on a bicycle. And that moves with the pastoralist communities when they move from cattle camp to cattle camp. This is a model which has been shown to work. Save the Children have piloted it successfully in Jonglei as well. But at the moment, there's not a lot of funding attached to that. The government have managed to continue to pay many of their pastoralist teachers, even through austerity measures, which is a huge achievement. But this is something which needs to be ramped up and delivered at scale. One of the big challenges, as I mentioned a couple of times, is the conflict in the country. As we've seen around the world, education is a key component of peace building. One of the things we need to look at in this country is aligning our education programs with peace building programs. It's risky in terms of our geographical siting for us to move into areas close to or around conflict to try and establish programs there. Not just the basic education we talked about, but also the alternative education programs to give youth, young men in particular, some positive, proactive activities to occupy their time, as well as giving them a future that's outside of conflict. Along the border with the north, we have a number of camps for returnees from the north, a number of camps for internally displaced people. Whilst their needs are serviced by a number of NGOs, including ourselves, particularly education in terms of temporary schools or camp schools at primary, secondary and alternative levels, the host populations are in some cases neglected. So one of our focuses will be expansion of programs into the host populations there, as well as into Eastern Equatoria, which is hugely underserved by the NGO and the donor population, and the remoter parts of Jonglei where we're already operating, trying to expand our programs there.